Brookfield's chief operating officer was in committee today talking about the review of the Conflict of Interest Act, and Michael Barrett absolutely unloads and exposes this guy and makes him admit something that we already know. But now that it's on record, it's going to be very interesting to see how the voters, especially the swing voters, react to this. So we're going to get into this. Now, before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help grow the channel. I appreciate you so much for doing that. So let's have a look, and then we'll talk about it.
At Brookfield, when Brookfield's value increases, the value of stock options and deferred share units also increase. That's how these instruments work, correct?
Yes, when our share price increases, the value of those instruments do increase, yes.
And that basic reality doesn't change simply because those instruments would be placed in a blind trust. The value would still rise when the value of Brookfield rises, correct?
Yes.
So if someone holds Brookfield options and units in a blind trust or not, they personally benefit when Brookfield performs well. Isn't that right?
Anybody who holds those instruments, whether during employment or following employment, derives the benefit from those instruments. That's correct.
Any instrument can be sold, bought back, cash settled, or unwound in an instance where, for example, if Parliament required by law divestment by sale. That possibility exists, correct?
The Prime Minister would have certain instruments as part of our long-term incentive plans. There are certain instruments that are less liquid than others. I'm happy to get into the details of that if you wish.
I would, but the premise is what I need to settle, is that they can be sold, bought back, or cash settled or unwound. It is possible, should it be a requirement. Is that correct?
Yes, it's possible.
Thank you. They're long dated.
Is it just me, or does this Justin Bieber, whatever his name is, this guy right here, he looks pretty nervous to me. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know this guy. I don't know what his normal demeanor is. And to be fair, getting called into committee, I would imagine most people are nervous. But he seems a little bit extra nervous about this. I think he knows damn well that this is a massive conflict of interest and that Mark Carney is only here to create policies that benefit Brookfield that in return benefit Mark Carney financially. Isn't that it?
It's possible.
Thank you. They're long dated, so we get that. But that's generally how compensation contracts work. That's not some kind of that's not something unique to Mr. Carney, since you brought him up.
Well, long-term, yes. In some cases, exercisable in shorter horizons. In some cases, the ultimate value is received far into the future.
Can you explain briefly how stock options or deferred share units and notional long-term incentive plans work at Brookfield? What drives their value?
Yes, I'd be happy to, and I will try to be brief. Helpfully, all disclosure relating to Brookfield stock options and deferred share units is disclosed in detail in our public filings, so it's very much available. In a nutshell, stock options are rights to acquire shares of Brookfield at a certain price, and those exist and during their pendency are exercisable, subject to vesting, because when we award them, people take subject to vesting schedules. So even though you awarded them, they have to vest during the time that you are with Brookfield, and then exercisable for stock that can then be sold into the market. Deferred share units are slightly different. They also track the value of a Brookfield share, but they are not actually shares, and when they mature, they are paid out to the individual based on the value of the share at that time. They are the second component to some of our LTIP programs.
Are you able to give us approximate value range of options and deferred share units that Mr. Carney still holds?
As I said in my response letter, that's personal and private information, and that's not something that Brookfield is permitted to disclose to the committee.
Well, what I will say is that you enjoy parliamentary privilege while you're at this table, and this committee is not constrained in its ability to request information or documents, but I'll move on for the moment.
Okay.
Increases in Brookfield's performance increases the value of the instruments that Mark Carney still holds. So he makes more, when Brookfield does better. Yes?
In relation to the stock options and deferred share units, yes, as the value of
Boom.
Brookfield increases, the value of those instruments increase. There are also carried interest entitlements that relate more specifically to funds that we manage.
So speaking of funds, the Global Transition Fund is one that Mr. Carney was directly involved in. Are you able to provide us with details of the investments that are inside it that drive the value of his position or those who hold a position in it?
Yes, so I believe you're referring to Brookfield Global Transition Fund 1, which was launched during the time that the Prime Minister was with Brookfield. And I can confirm that all of the investments made in that fund are contained in the annexure to the Commissioner's screen document that has been published.
Okay. We're going to have to come back to some of this, but my last question is, with the Prime Minister still holding compensation that rises with Brookfield's performance, how would you say that Canadians would be able to have confidence that blind trust and private screen are enough to protect the public interest when, as you agreed, when Brookfield does better, the Prime Minister is going to do better?
Well, I think it's based on whether or not the conflicts can be managed. I'm happy to talk about that further.
I mean, he blatantly admitted it, that Mark Carney, when Brookfield does better, so does Mark Carney. Then I got something else here. This is from Jing Lei He. He posted this on X. I'm just going to zoom in here and make this bigger for you so you can see it. And he says, while millions of Canadians are lining up at food banks and barely able to make ends meet, Mark Carney is abusing his power as Prime Minister to make himself and his Brookfield's buddies rich. Brookfield shares have skyrocketed since Carney became PM, yet no Liberal even cares. Funny, right? Remember those Liberals, all they do for the last 10, 15 years is complain about rich old white men. And then as soon as someone like that comes along, what do? They vote for him. Probably with their elbows. So this is January, right? This is the Brookfield stock. See, it's going up. He becomes Prime Minister right around here. It's at a low. And look what happens. Look what happens. It just skyrockets. Weird, huh? Right as he becomes Prime Minister, the company that he used to be a CEO for and still has stocks and shares in starts making a bunch more money. My God, I mean, imagine still believing, like going to one of those stores. I don't even know where they sell those elbows up shirts, or didn't they have like a beer or something? I've never seen it, but wherever they go to get that merchandise or that beverage, I just wonder how they feel putting that sweater on right now. Elbows up, no deal with Trump. Carney's getting rich though. 25% of Canadians have to eat at food banks, not Mark Carney. To be fair, Pierre Poilievre doesn't either, but Pierre Poilievre isn't in this to get his Brookfield buddies and himself rich. There's no evidence to show it. Well, here's the evidence for Mark Carney's case. This guy is not here for me. He's not here for you. He's here for himself and to get him and his rich buddies rich. And that's what Liberals are supposed to hate so much. Guys, what happened?